Hey, what's going on, guys? Inglorious Gun here, and we got some more Iron Man DPS gameplay here. I believe this is in Gold 2, and then presently I'm actually about to be back in Gold 1, and then very close to climbing back into Plat. It's been an upward trend as of late. I feel like I've been playing a lot better, and as such, just through the merit of, playing matches and the law of numbers, and just kind of hoping that my personal performance will have a higher impact just the better I try to play. We are actually, getting some LP, and, teammates vary in terms of efficacy, but I think the most important thing that was reiterated to me just from watching other people play and just kind of discussing the topic is if I'm gonna sit here and say that like, oh, my teammates are dog shit, or they are innately the reason that I'm losing every match, that's taking away the self accountability of how I'm playing, right? And it means that I'm so fucking good that I'm close to infallible, and my only flaw is that I'm not being enabled properly by my team, which in reality is not the case. I make a lot of mistakes, but I think mindfulness and trying to just be cognizant of what you could be doing better ultimately is always going to lead to a better form of improvement, and you'll ultimately see progress. It might be marginal, but it will be gradual, so you just got to keep that in mind. But for this video, speaking of which, I think something that's very important, and I've touched on it a little bit here and there, but map awareness and just knowing where health packs are as well as a DPS is huge. Iron Man thankfully has a lot of mobility, so it's a little easier for him to backtrack and go grab a health pack. That's not something that every single DPS can do under the same confines, but mobility tools vary, and I think range and understanding like where you're fighting in the choke is another respective element that plays into that, especially depending if you're playing like a slower kind of DPS character. But in spite of all that, we still got fucking Merc there. Good strange portal, we're rolling back in. I should have realistically popped my damage increase, but we are cleaning up with the rest of our team here. Actually had a good kind of mulligan moment there. We got our shit pushed in, they made it about like 15 feet, and then thankfully with the strange portal we were able to regroup. Now we're holding back at the original choke, and there's going to be regression with the cart, which is huge. So again, very close to dying, but there's the health pack right there, and then if we were to move up even closer in that building I'm currently shooting the laser at, there's another one. But obviously just being able to stay in the midline, pretty much like let my frontline tanks create the distraction I need while I lay on concurrent damage or try to focus their backline if I can, and then also be in a state that can be sustainable by my healers. That way I'm a lot easier to aim at comparative to the tanks that are kind of combating everyone all at once. But we got a maximum pulse here, trying to fly in, find a good angle, and unfortunately I think that Magneto, he did eat a lot of that fucking damage, right? That did about half his health, but I think he shielded like at the last second and maybe just caught it at an off angle. I don't know, some of those moments are definitely very bizarre, and I couldn't tell you what necessarily like blocks or doesn't block a specific ult in a given time, but here we are. We unfortunately are getting pushed in a little bit, lost our healers to the Venom ult. And for me, I just realized that this probably is not the ideal team fight. Lots of health packs here, though, just in the vicinity. So that's always a good thing. And yeah, at this moment, this would not be an advantageous, position to be pushing up. This Magneto is like very aggressive, and I think he might have overextended here a little bit. Yeah, because our team kind of regrouped. But ultimately, I'm waiting for the boost, my damage boost or my E. Because otherwise you're doing okay, like poke damage, but really like Iron Man's entire kit, that was super unfortunate. Thankfully the rocket was there with the revive. I got absolutely cucked on that fucking health pack. Again, perfect example, like I popped it after we did that wipe, so it didn't really matter because thankfully our whole team was, on target for that amazing Groot ult. You can't ask for like a better ult in that scenario. But Yeah, I ultimately could have been contributing a lot more damage than I was, but, you know, instead of wasting the time that the ult probably would have lasted going into my advanced damage state, I just figured it was easier to at least lay concurrent damage out. Everyone was grouped, so that was going to get the most out of my base attack. And, you know, thankfully it kind of worked out in that scenario. But these are just like little tiny things that obviously could play out a lot better. That ult was fucking fat, though. Thankfully, no one was aware that I flew right there. We got both their healers and a DPS, and then we're just kind of able to clean house. The Spider-Man ultimately did come in and provide a good counter. A lot of people have like thoughts on Spider-Man in the sense that he is weak or he's too OP, and I know that he was nerfed given that there was all these animation cancels that he was doing that was like one-shotting people, but I don't know. Given how squishy he is, I can definitely understand on like a console front it being frustrating trying to adjust to hit someone that's moving like that. On PC, you can kind of mitigate it, especially like there are some fucking aim heroes out here that could snipe that motherfucker in one rotation, right? But I haven't found him like so irritating to the point where I, you know, throw my fucking hands up every time there's an enemy Spider-Man. But, you know, I wish I could say the same for the times that I've had a teammate Spider-Man, right? He's definitely applying that Spider-Man doesn't kill principle, but that's here or there. I know it's a really hard hero to play. You know, I love Peter Parker, but I think given his kit, there are other heroes I've kind of gravitated towards that have provided more utility to me. I finally understand how Namor kind of functions in the like really prevalent use of him as a counter to like let's say Iron Man or Storm or other characters that are a little harder to hit for maybe like if you have a hit scan on your team or if you're not the best at aiming. You know, obviously he rewards precision with his spears, but those octopi or whatever the fuck you would call them, his dog, squids, they are, you know, essentially your TF2 auto turret. And I didn't realize how effective they are, especially in a team fight, depending on your positioning. So I've come to really appreciate that character. In addition to like Squirrel Girl or just, you know, I think a reason I like playing Iron Man so much, as you can tell from this immaculate gameplay, this whole thruster recharge moment is definitely a pants down. If you aren't aware, and thankfully I finally was able to fucking do it, if you activate his damage increase, he does get a refresh on his thrusters, which could save your ass in a lot of instances. We did get some healer kills here, and this ultimately led to a good push. I think, you know, even if your maximum pulse gets blocked or whatever have you, the goal should always be at least getting one frag. And I think the most impactful, obviously, would be their healer on their team, even if it's just one. If you apply like the chip method, right? The less heals they have, it's easier for their team to fall apart. You're not going to have any way to mitigate most of that damage coming in once their tanks block whatever they can, and then that's how you peel. But yeah, I was enjoying Tony. I feel like for attack though, it was going to be more progressive for me to use Moon Knight, given the Ankh and his kind of AoE capacity as well. Lots of CC. They're very grouped together, so I figured, you know, with his ult, especially like how kind of overcorrected Moon Knight is right now. If people don't shoot your Ankh, and depending on your accuracy, like I already have 72 fucking % on my ult, which got, you know, buffed to the moon, right? And like we're barely past the first push on the choke. That's kind of wild. So I do think that his ult buildup might be mitigated, but the way that it is damage-wise might be the same now. But that's kind of hard to adjust for, given that you are crewing your ultimate when you're doing damage, right? And he does a lot of damage and has the capacity to do CC damage to the whole fucking team. So it's just, I think balancing-wise, definitely a difficulty. But this Strange overextended here, get him, and then we are able just to kind of roll in the cart. They did have a portal here, but not really much of a push. Their Magneto was kind of lurking, but ultimately not a whole lot going on here. It's always important to kind of hold on to your ult too. I think a lot of people I definitely have done this many a times, and it's been recorded and documented through some of the other videos where I get a little ambitious with the idea of like laying down a huge fucking ult. I kind of waste it. I either biff it entirely or we're not really getting the damage, but thankfully positioning wise that was towards their backline, so we kind of pincered them off. They either had to back up into my ult or accidentally did, or had to fight all of us right there. So I think I ideally wanted to move the ult a little closer, but that still ultimately ended up working in our favor, and for whatever reason I still got a frag on it as well. So good stuff there. The Spider-Man's coming in though, just doing flips and shit. He's like, what's up, we're back at it again at Krispy Kreme. But again, we have a Namor, right? So those auto turrets are really kind of doing the heavy lifting in regards to countering him in this push, which is nice because, you know, he's trying to obviously get to the back line and then, you know, pick off anyone that's around the 200 to 300 health percentile, because that's realistically what he's going to be doing with his combo damage if he's being like exact, you know. But yeah, just want to thank you guys for watching, and appreciate it as always, and hope you guys have a good day.